Okay.
We are recording.
All right. Give me 2 seconds. All right. So we're going to start the roll call. Roll call of the names. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Schusler.
Matt Schuler.
Matt Schuler. There you go. Oh, there you go. He's by me. Alderman Brian Johnson.
Here.
Kathy Hinkfuss.
Here.
And I don't see Wendy on there, but I know Wendy is here.
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Today we're going to do the agenda approval of the Community Development Grant Revolving Loan Committee. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All those opposed? Say aye.
Say hi.
Aye.
Favor. Yep. Favor.
Guys.
In favor.
Awesome. And then now we have approval of the minutes for our December 20th, 2021 meeting of the Community Development Block Grant Revolving Loan Committee.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any opposed? Say aye.
We'll need an approval, please. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And then regular business, considering which possible action of the request of the $250,000 in Community Development Block Grant Revolving Loan Funds by PSR Real Estate Holding, Inc.
Yes.
All right. I can take that one.
Thank you.
We have a loan application from the, I don't know if you want me to say your first name or, so it's Raymond he goes by, but Amarinder Singh and his wife Pooja. They have applied. They are going to be purchasing the Motel 6 on Shano Avenue. We previously have worked with the current owners, but this opportunity has come along, and the property will be sold to the Singhs. The $250,000 that they're asking is for the land and property acquisition on this particular property. We also have a combination of other equity that is being brought into this property. So the borrowers are bringing about $386,000 of their personal equity into this transaction. They're asking again for the $250,000 from the Community Development Block Grant program. They also have their lender, Covantage, Sean Malik, on the phone here today, and they're coming in at let me just confirm the number. We've moved that around a little bit. $2,025,000. What? Is that correct, Sean?
Yes, that is.
$2,025,000. And they're going to have a 15-year term on that. I also wanted to share that in addition to this business, so bringing experience and things like that, and we'll open the floor eventually to the applicants, but Raymond has also a trucking business, and he'll be keeping that trucking business while having this motel business. And so his wife and his father-in-law will be running the motel business. His father-in-law will be living on site. We've always found that it's been a real attribute to have a person on site with properties like this. Just everything seems to go a little bit better when there's an owner on site. And so they've addressed that issue. They have been working very closely with Sonali and Deepak, the previous owners, their friends. Deepak and Sonali will also have some funds involved in this business, so there'll be some funds retained for the first couple of year or two, so that they'll be assisting them in the transition to make sure everything goes smoothly. And that was packet. So there's going to be 135,000 from the seller is holding note on that. So there is going to be some continuation from the previous or the first owners to the second owners. So that is also another strength that I wanted to bring in front of the loan committee. And Raymond's other transportation business, he's thinking that if, heaven forbid, that there's another pandemic or something like that, or shutdowns, or that it's slow in the business industry, that his other business could support it through shortfalls or difficult times. And so it makes sense that other business is thriving and doing well, that he keep that one going, and that his wife and father-in-law kind of take lead on this, but that they would still all be working together, and they can answer the particular questions of that. But that would be kind of the loan structure. Our loan would be at 4%. We would match the amortization rate of Covantage at 15 years, so we would keep that going. We would be in a secondary position behind Covantage, so we're would be in a subordinate position, and they would need to create about seven. They need to create 7 jobs at a minimum at this location. Pooja and Raymond have thought that this their business would create maybe closer to 11, and felt that the 7 was not a difficult number to achieve. So they will. They feel that that's a good loan fit and an agreement for them. So with that, I think I've covered most of the terms and conditions. They have, again, Sean has provided a lot of paperwork and done a lot of, you can see in the loan package that, or the loan proposal from them, that there's a lot of information in there. But I'm open to any questions of the loan's particular transaction.
Wendy, when you when we talk about the job creation component, is there an audit that goes along with that at some point from the federal government? How does that work, and what happens if that number is not met?
Yeah, so we have a clawback clause that if the number is not met, that there is an additional fee charged to them. But we really work with the proprietor to make sure that they meet the criteria, because we really don't want to charge them extra. We really want the jobs created. Sometimes we've had to extend the 18-month, especially during the COVID time. Our HUD representative has allowed us to extend it. Typically, we give 18 months time frame, so a year and a half to create the positions. But during COVID, some businesses, of course, started to hire and started to work their plan, and then all of a sudden we're not able to open their doors. And so we just gave them a 6-month or a 1-year extension to meet the criteria. But so far we've had everybody meet the criteria.
Okay, good. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall an amortization period of 15 years having come before the committee before. I think the longest we've done is 10. So I presume that is still in alignment with the, I guess, the rules that come along with this particular source of funding.
Yeah, you know, Brian, we've always question. For equipment, it's in the 10-year range. So when we do restaurant equipment or things like that, that would maybe have a little bit, that's usually a 10-year amortization. We can go up to 15 with property. And we often will want to always we try to meet the primary lender's terms, because otherwise if our term is ending before theirs, it sometimes makes for a complicated capital stack. And so we often will match the terms of the primary lender, just for when we put these pieces together, it seems like that matches better.
Okay, and then the last question that I had, the prior owner has, I believe it's 2 outstanding loans with us right now. What's going to happen to those?
Those will be paid off, and so that'll be paid off just as if. So we're going to do a little shuffling at Covantage when we do this, because Covantage is their primary, is the lender on the original Motel 6 loans. And so they'll be satisfied, we'll be satisfied, and then we'll be issuing the new. So one transaction has to happen before the other, but there'll be some, but those will be paid off. And then the money will come back into our resources, and then we have other loans out there that are asking for that funding.
Okay, thank you.
Wendy, can I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
It kind of goes off something Brian asked about the full-time jobs. I'm assuming when we provide these, that's one of the reasons if they're these businesses are adding full-time equivalent. So is this full-time equivalent with benefits, or is this 7 FTEs, meaning it could be 14, 7? I'm trying to understand the intent of the borrowing.
Yeah, no, so this is a perfect question. Thank you, Commissioner Hinkfist. When an employee is hired, they fill out an additional form through HUD, and they have to provide their family status. So they have to provide their income levels. So it's a low to moderate income form. It shows what income category they're in, and then what type of household they are. If they're a 1 person, if they're a 5-person household, whatever their household is. So we get a little bit of a makeup. We also ask if their gender, and we also ask, there's some questions on their ethnicity. So we ask that so that we feel like we're serving populations that really need the funding. HUD would really like to make sure that people are encouraged to work. And so this is a job creation type of loan program. And so whenever we use revolving loan funds, we think job creation. That's just a component of a particular loan program. And so the owner, when he hires somebody, he has to have them fill out one extra form for this HUD requirement. That form is filed onto our IDIS system, which is the HUD program. And then we are rated and scaled. If we don't meet the criteria of creating a certain amount of money or jobs in our community with this money, then we might not get the next allocation. But we've always been able to create the jobs, and we've always been able to provide that reporting information, so that we always are in line for additional HUD funds each year. So it's a program that the city has, but we also implement that into the community. Did I help answer that question a little bit?
Kind of. Are these, benefits provided with these jobs? Is that part of the measure, or is it just add up the hours, divide it by 40, and that's 7 FTE?
The hours. We don't ask a benefit question is not part of this particular, they haven't added that question, but I'm sure.
It's just for my own information, Wendy.
But that isn't something we ask them. We ask them about how many hours they're and how many, and then the amount of pay that they receive. So.
Okay.
Kathy?
Thank you.
Yep. For some verification, HUD requires it's a full-time equivalent, so it's just 40 hours have to be linked to that thing. So if it's 2 part-timers or 3 part-timers that add up to 40 hours, that would create one of those 7 positions.
Yep, I follow that. That's why I was asking if it could be mixed, or if it's okay.
Thank you for that clarification, Stephanie. Anything else that the committee has a question about with this program, or anything else with the applicants?
I'd make a motion to open the floor to hear from interested parties.
I'll second.
All right, Pooja and Raymond, would you like to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about, the floor is open for you to talk.
First of all, I want to thank each and everyone in the meeting. Thanks a lot, and all of the people. I'm sorry I don't know the names for the other people. Thanks a lot, guys. Yes, it has been really honored for and doing this hotel business. And yes, we are ready. Our doors are open, lights are open. The hotel. So really to be a part of City of Bay. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pooja Singh. So sorry for my voice. I'm sick. Thank you very much for all of your support. We are really excited to be part of Green Bay City. So I am really excited. Me and my dad is going to be joining Green Bay Motel, and my dad is, as Wendy told you guys, my dad is going to be stay on site. And my daughter, she is student in St. which is 5 minutes drive from the motels, and she's going to be help us too. So we are all family is going to be all this business. We all are excited, especially my daughter and me. We both are so excited to part of Green Bay. Thank you very much for all of your support, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot to mention her daughter is attending St. Norbert's College. And so this is a college job for her and a family business. So we're another entrepreneur in the community. So that's great. A true family business. Sean, would you like to add anything from Covantage? And thank you for joining us today. Oh, Sean, we might not have received that. I want to say that one more time. I saw your box lit like you were speaking, but I didn't receive anything.
Oh, can you hear me?
A little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, now he's muted.
Or froze.
Muted, I think, Sean. Sean, I think you're muted.
We're frozen.
Oh, Sean, you're muted. Yeah, he might be. There he is. Now we're good.
Okay. Again.
Might be a poor connection.
It's okay.
I wanted to say that we worked with Covantage on the previous one, and it went really well. And we've had a lot of interchanging emails and everything. And Sean has been very supportive of the whole program here. And so, Sean, if you want to text or call and let me know, and I can relay any information that you have to share. All right.
Well, unless there's,
Yeah, he said he's freezing up a bit, which makes sense. So,
Does he
unless
want
there's-
to oh, I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, first off, I just want to thank the Sings and congratulate you. It's got to be quite an exciting time. And obviously, we've had some experiences with the previous owners, the folks that you're purchasing it from. And it's always a pleasure to hear them come in and kind of talk about the project and, and what they were doing to manage. And one of the questions I think that had come up in the past on this particular property, were some of the troubles that had plagued it a while ago. And that's why I think having an on-site presence was always something important to the committee in the past. So it sounds like you're going to continue that tradition. So that we're very happy to hear that. Yeah, I mean, the paperwork kind of speaks for itself. Honestly, like I was looking through the paperwork trying to come up with questions and I was struggling. So, kudos to you for putting in a solid application as well.
It's in order.
I'd like to add something if I just remembered something. And Sean said he thanked the committee today. He wanted to thank everybody, but he said that the presentation sounded just fine to him. So adding that real quickly. I would like to just share with the committee as well that the previous owners, so Deepak and Sonali, they have a grant for a facade out, and they were granted $26,500 from our facade grant program. Now they've done a number of improvements already, but they're partially through that facade grant and haven't, of course, the weather closed in, and I don't think they anticipated this sale, and so they were kind of caught midstream with this grant, but they would like to continue on and do the improvements to the property. They still feel like they are involved in this business transaction, and I did check with Cheryl, and it is okay. We will just be bringing to the RDA Pooja and Raymond's addition, and then they'll continue on because some of the paint has been purchased, some of the materials have been, they just can't do them until it's over 50 degrees and things like that. So they got kind of caught midstream with this grant facade program. And we would like that to see that through, and both owners would like to see the property improved, we as well. And so we did come up with a solution as a staff. This was headed by Cheryl. They've done this on other projects that have happened like this, and they just bring it back to the RDA to add the additional new owners. And then who would submit the receipts will be cleared out, will be called out, and then who will be reimbursed will call that out. And so we'll work with them to work through that program. But I also wanted to share with the committee that there is another piece of the puzzle out there. This happens sometimes when you have properties with improvements happening along the way. You know, life doesn't stop in between, transactions happen. And so we would like to make sure that all these pieces of the puzzle are addressed and that the committee is aware of them.
Yeah, I don't see an issue.
Okay, just wanted to make everybody aware of that extra pending piece of business that we're going to address separately from this loan, but that'll be brought to the RDA.
Yeah, unless there's any other questions from the committee, I don't hear any forthcoming, but I would make a motion to close the floor.
Second.
And then we just need a vote on that, please.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wendy, do you see, is there a need for us to go into closed session? I know the language is on here, but.
You know, I didn't know if anybody would have a personal question about his other business or anything else. And so I put that on there just as a potential, but I do not see that. I think with having Covantage's loan presentation, it pretty well describes everything that's going on with this business transaction.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, obviously Covantage is coming to the table as a lender. There's an equity requirement being met by the owner. This request before us is doing exactly what it's intended to do. And that's that gap financing component to help close a transaction. So, Wendy, I trust you've done the due diligence in terms of examining the past financial performance of the hotel under the previous owners. I mean, meaning that there's enough there to handle the debt service on this.
Yeah. So Raymond and Pooja really took a close look at this. Raymond sharpened his pencil, and Sean and I have all taken a look at the previous performance, and it does show that it could support this loan and future business. So there's room for expansion as well.
Okay. The one thing, you know, and I know that you said that it's that it is part of this overall package that we're paying off the outstanding loans. So I guess I would just offer up a motion unless there's any other comments or questions, but I would move to approve. But I would also add a contingency that this transaction also close out the 2 outstanding loans with this particular property.
And I don't think if you see in the loan package, it doesn't include any previous. Sean also has a previous loan on the other first transaction on this property. So this is just like a new loan for this particular business. But yes, we would have to settle all previous debts before we would issue any additional funds. Is that what you'd like to have the wording be?
Yep. Yeah. Just the contingency, as I mentioned it in
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll second it.
Motion.
All in favor? Ace, you want to?
Sorry. Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
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 Great. Any opposed? Yeah.
No, good luck, guys.
Congratulations.
It's exciting. Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome to Green Bay.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for this morning. I wanted to kind of follow up on the next item on the agenda. just to kind of just do a real quick recap, and thank you, Sean and Pooja and Raymond, you're welcome to listen, or you can get off to your busy day. That's fine too. We have a review of our community development loan status open accounts. You'll see that we have just about everybody current. We do have a little bit of a hiccup going on with Badger State Brewing. They actually had selected a different type of online payment, and I'm not sure everything's communicating the way it is. We're in communication with Andrew over there and going to get that straightened out, but he is still owing for the month of March on his equipment loan, and he has February and March on his construction loan. But they have always, when we talk to them, they return our phone calls and are easy to work with. I think I don't know if our disconnect is on our end or their end. We're still working that out through the lending system, but we are in communication with them, and I know we'll get that straightened out probably before the end of the month would be my guess. They've been really good with anything that's been going, but I know that they are using some kind of an online system that may not be communicating with our lender just right, or our banking system just right. And Stephanie and I are on that one. On the EDRLF, the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund status, everybody is current on there, and you'll see again, Motel 6, there's some funds there that will be paid back and made whole. And we already have 2 other applications in the hopper, so we're going to be busy this spring, which is great, getting the funding out to our community. So look forward to that. But that is the final information on the loan report. If anybody has any questions on that, let me know.
Looks
Wendy,
good.
on the CDRLF, Wendy, I just want to make sure that I'm reading this right, that there is available funding of $461,000. Is that right? Is that what that means?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. So 250 on this particular loan presentation, but you'll see Motel 6 come back in. And then we have 2 others in the 100,000 category coming through. And I just talked to one yesterday again. So when federal interest rates go up, our lending program looks a little bit better. But you can see that Pooja and Raymond got an excellent rates from Sean. So that was really favorable for them. They got in just before everything started moving around. So that was really favorable for them. But yeah.
So when we talk about the HUD held funds, the 113,000, is that, what does that mean? Are those just coming with different requirements? Fund?
I can answer that, Wendy.
So I talked to Krista about that yesterday, and I guess that is still all in the same, we just haven't requested those funds yet. They're in just a separate fund. So as soon as we get an application, then she requests them to be freed up and put into this program. So they're kind of earmarked for this program. They just aren't added to. So the HUD funds are the money that's coming in. The other number that you see on there are the monies that we have generated from having loans go out and come in and go out and come in, and the interest coming in. So we just keep those separate. But that's just a bookkeeping piece on Krista's end. We just don't combine the money right away. So the revolving loan fund keeps a set balance of what we have come in.
And when the block grant authorization came through, I assume that's like back in October-ish. Was this fund replenished at all? I can't recall, and I don't think we've met since then.
We usually get about 100,000. So that one, let me see the number. I just set it aside. That 113 is usually my replenishment. Well, so they do allocate something each year, and it's usually in the 100,000 range.
Okay, and is there any discussion going on with ARPA allocations? I know, there is a bucket, dedicated towards small business. Conversations occurring about funding this program?
Yeah, we are serious about getting some additional funds out to small businesses. And this program, we're figuring out if we want to add it to an existing program like this, or if we want to add it to a new program that may not have all of the strings that we have had previously with our HUD funds. So the ARPA funds may not have all the strings. So we're kind of evaluating what would be the best way to get it out there with the least cumbrance, the least amount of strings attached to it to be able to make it more usable in the community. So we are
Okay.
putting some effort into that. Yeah, we just talked about that at business team yesterday.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other updates other than there's a couple loans in the hopper. So we'll be meeting again real soon, maybe in the next week or two.
Thanks. Nice job, Wendy.
All right. Thank you. I
And
look forward
team.
to working with Sean and the Sings. So thank you, everybody. That's all I have for today's meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Awesome. All right,
And thank you.
Jessica, next meeting's at noon, I heard.
So thank you, everybody. Thanks.